What is going on YouTube? Hey, Snoop12922 got a video that's been requested and I had delayed it for a while, but now that we're back from National, I think it's a great time to really get this video going. What I'm going to do today is more of a demonstration and kind of show you how to UV protect your items that you're going to have on display. Now this will work for pictures, cards, almost anything. My collection I had before that I had sold was a very large collection with a lot of memorabilia, a lot of autographs, but everything was UV protected, so it all looked exactly like when I bought it. Now UV protection is relatively cheap, but it can get very expensive. There's several ways you can go about doing this. Now the first way is whatever the item is, you can carry it to a professional that will frame and mat it, and naturally they're going to use a good UV protectant glass, an archival glass, or they're going to use a museum glass. Museum glass is the top level glass. It is very, very expensive. It's what you see in museums, and it's what they use quite a bit. The next is called archival glass. Archival glass still has the UV protection in it, but archival glass a lot of times doesn't have the same glare protection in it, so it's a little bit cheaper. Then the third way that museums and curators and a lot of them will protect things is the way that I do it, which is using UV film to actually protect the item. What I've got today is I have Perez Steel postcard. It's signed in ink by Judy Johnson, Negro League player, and I have a frame. And I'm going to mat this, you know, I've got a matting on here, and we're just going to put this card in there. I'm going to go ahead and UV protect it, and I'll be able to hang it up, display it, do whatever I want. It can pretty well be in virtual sunlight and no harm, because the UV rays are going to be blocked. Now, when it comes to the UV film, let's start from the basics. This is the film. I ordered this off of eBay. You can get it from eBay, Amazon. If you don't want to do it that way, look in the yellow pages if they're still around. You can Google glass distributors and they probably have it. If you've ever gone to a doctor's office or any offices in a commercial building, or any offices in a commercial building, and you notice that the back of the chairs that are right at the window, they never fade. It's because they're UV film protected. UV light is a natural occurring light through sunlight. It damages so much. It's what causes paint to fade. It causes ink to fade, colors, just all sorts of stuff. The damage is from the UV light itself. So this I ordered off of eBay. This film blocks 99.995 of UV rays. I don't have to do it in my room simply because I UV protect the window that's in my room and the window on the door. So I've already blocked 99.95% of all the UV light, but what's wrong with a little bit of extra protection for that 5/10,000ths of a percent that comes through? If you're going to do the windows, this is same application applies. Like I said, I bought this off of eBay. This whole roll, this is a big roll of UV film. It's enough to do the windows and just about all the things like this that I want to do. And if I run out, it's only like 20-25 bucks. I will tell you, if you're buying this from eBay, make sure you're buying from a glass distributor or another distributor, because you don't want some cheap knockoff stuff. These are, you know, you're protecting your autographs, your pictures, all of that stuff. You don't want some cheap knockoff stuff. There is a lot of cheap stuff on eBay. I don't trust it. This came from a distributor in Florida, and he has a full warranty protection on it. This is the 3M. I like using 3M, but there are other major manufacturers out there that have UV film. Now the thing is, this is applied exactly like you would window tint. So if you know somebody that does window tinting on cars and you're not comfortable doing this, then just take them to glass and let them do it. Now this stuff will stick to glass, plexiglass, almost any clear substance that can be used as a window. So that's why I like using this. Let me pop this open real quick and I'll just show you what it looks like. But it comes in a roll and it's clear. I've already got a piece trimmed, but I'll show you right there. It's crystal clear. If you're going to do the windows in your man cave or whatever, you can order it tinted to different levels of tint, just like you would for a car. You know, I've already got a piece that I had used on another thing because I kind of save it. And this is the piece we're going to use today. But there it is. I can put it right on the lens. There you go. It's crystal clear. It's UV protectant film. Now, to get into the items we're going to need today in order to do this, because it's not hard. It's really not hard. Let me move the camera around a little bit and we'll get into going ahead and getting this done, because I'm also going to mat this in so it's a very, very nice display. So be back in a second. All right, so let's get into actually doing this card. So first thing you need is an item, which I'm just going to set over there on the side, and your frame or whatever you're going to be UV protecting. And I'm going to try this, guys. I've never done it in front of a camera. I'm just going to use the same steps I normally do. And once you get used to doing this, it's going to move really fast. But I'm going to be slowing down a whole lot just for the sake of doing this video. Okay, first thing is first. We're going to need, first thing first, we're going to need something to put down. This is just an old Bass Times magazine. You can use a magazine, anything you want. I just put it down because of the water and stuff, and you'll see what I mean a little bit later. And because I'm using my stovetop, I have a glass stovetop, I don't want to be cutting on this glass. So just something to set your item down on, and you'll see a little bit later. Next, we're going to need a piece of newspaper or just something to clean the glass with. If you're not using a newspaper, which I do recommend you use a newspaper, you want something lint-free. Do not use anything that's not lint-free. You can use a good quality paper towel. You just have to make sure it is lint-free and streak-free. Newspaper, typically lint-free and it's streak-free, so I highly recommend just grab a little piece of newspaper. The next thing we're going to need is glass cleaner. It doesn't matter if it's expensive. This is just cheap old Walmart window cleaner. We're going to need some glass cleaner. We got to clean the glass off. Next thing we're going to need is just some soap and water. That's all this is. It's an empty window cleaner thing from the dollar store. A little bit of soap and water in there. That's it. A few drops of dishwashing liquid, some water, you're good to go. Next thing you're going to need is some tape. Good old blue painter's tape. So you'll see why we need this a little bit later. We're only going to need really a small piece of this tape, but you do want some tape around. It's going to make peeling that film 1,000 times easier. You're going to need a pair of scissors because you're going to need to trim that film off. So a good pair of scissors, nice and sharp. It's all I use. Next, and the last two pieces, which are very key. One is a razor blade. You're going to need a razor blade. Make sure it's sharp. This one looks old and dull and ragged, but this blade is sharp. So make sure you have a razor blade. You're going to need it. Do not use the razor blades that you find in a box cutter. These blades are too thick. The thickness of the blade will get you in trouble. And a lot of times the box cutter blades dull very easily. And unless you're going to test it on something, this one, I can shine it in the light and I can see jagged edges along the blade itself. So I do not recommend using these at all. Last but not least, you need a flat edge. You can use a squeegee. I'm just using an old Walmart gift card, and you can even use a one of those store valued customer cards. But if you do, let me show you really quick why you have to be careful with these. if you look at this Walmart card, gift card, see this edge? This edge is nice and clean and straight. There are no bumps or divots on it. That's the main thing you want to be looking for. If you use one of the store valued customer cards, where this edge is nice and clean and straight, this bottom edge, if you look at it right here, there is a little divot from when it was torn off of the little thing. I'll put my finger behind it, you can see it there. And there's another one right here. That will scratch and it will make it just such a pain. It's so much easier. Grab a credit card or anything, or a gift card. Use one of these that didn't get torn off, and it's a nice, smooth, clean edge. That's all we're gonna need. So let's get started. Got my frame. First thing I'm gonna do, I need to open up my frame. And I'm gonna not bore you guys with me actually mounting the piece to the matting. But I will tell you that, you know, I'm going to go ahead and mount that in, and I'm gonna separate out my glass. So I'll just leave the glass right there. But let me go ahead and get my card mounted to this piece of matting. For anyone that wants to do their own framing and stuff, it's relatively simple. If you want to do the matting and you're afraid of cutting it out, or the frame doesn't come with a piece of matting, you can go to Michael's or any craft store. Walmart sells it, and you can buy just the plain old matting. Now, if you go to a place like Michael's, or I'm not even sure if Ben Franklin's is still around, they will have matting in different colors. But most of the craft stores and stuff will sell matting, and the matting, you know, it's just matting. It's a thicker type of paper with the square cut out. But if you give them the dimensions, they will cut it out for you. They will bevel the edges and all of that, and then you can just mount it yourself. Anyway, let me cut the camera. I'm gonna go ahead and mount my Judy Johnson card. And also, when I'm mounting this, I am going to be leaving this in the sleeve. You can see it's in the sleeve. I am going to be leaving it in the sleeve when I mount this. Not for protection or anything, but because when I mount this, I do not want any of the archival tape that's used for mounting pictures and everything. I just don't want it touching the card. So let me cut the camera, let me get this mounted, and I'll be right back. All right, I've got this mounted. You can see all I'm doing is just using blue painter's tape, simply because I'm leaving the sleeve on it, so none of the tape is actually going to touch the card. But when I flip it over, there we go, it's perfectly centered and everything in there. It's going to be a very beautiful display piece. So we're going to take this and just set that over on the side for now. All right, now we've got to deal with the glass, and this is what's going to get the UV protection put on it. First thing you want to do, a couple quick sprays of the window cleaner, because we want it nice and clean. Use your newspaper. Let's clean this glass off. All right, there we go. Glass is clean. We know there are no fingerprints. You can look back at different angles and stuff, make sure there are no fingerprints or anything on it. Next, we need to get our piece of film. Now, this is a piece of film I had already cut before, because I've already done one of these. And this piece going this way, it's not quite, wow, it's like right on the edge. Let me check right here. Yep, that's going to work. What you want is just a rough cut first. You can see there's an edge, there's an edge here, and I'm just going to rough cut this edge right here. This is where you can either use scissors, or I'm just going to use a pair of scissors. You can use scissors or anything that you have handy, the razor blade, and it's just a rough cut this does not have to be exact. So this is our extra film. And you know what? I'm saving this. It's enough for another one. So I'm just gonna set this aside. I'm actually gonna put this back in my tube. And we've got our film already cut, kind of. And I'm just gonna kind of look at it and just like I said, this is just more rough cutting it. Just kind of roughing it in. I want a little edge on there. Oh, cool. All right, we're almost there. So we got our film, that's clear. Next thing we want to do, I'm gonna set this film right here on the side, is you need your soapy water. We're gonna spray this, move this film out the way because I don't want it wet. And we're just gonna spray that with soapy water. That simple. Next, get your tape out. Get a piece of tape. This is all we're gonna need the tape for. This is what's gonna make this so much easier. If you've ever done window tinting or anything, take your piece of tape, tear it in half to 2 pieces. Get your window film. Let's see, I want to make sure I'm oriented because I have this cut on an angle, so I know this is going to go this way. Take your tape, put one piece right here on this edge, take the next piece facing that piece of tape, stick it on the back. Guy that does tinting showed me this little trick. It's what he does. Now that you got the 2 pieces on it, pull them apart. There you go. As you pull it apart, you'll see there are 2 different pieces. This is the protective. This is the actual film. So we're going to separate this out. I like to take the tape, this back edge piece, and just stick it on something. Then just pull the film basically right on off. That's trash now. This is our film. Find my edge to reorient myself. Do not touch the center of this. You don't want fingerprints all on it. Now on this wet glass, we're just gonna lay it down. Just like so. We're getting ready to come into a home stretch. And peel that tape off it. And kind of center it up. With the soapy water, you can move it all around. You can see there, you can probably see there's a big bubble right here. Not to worry, we're getting ready to get rid of that. Next, we're going to take our gas card, start at the center. Always start at the center. Put it on about a 45-degree angle. Just push that water right on out. Come back to the center, go right to that corner. Push the water out. And we're going to work our way all the way around here, just pushing out this water. There we go. Now I'm going to pull this up for a second. I need to flip this over because this is now saturated. But back again, pushing water out. Push the water out. Start at the center and constantly work your way around it. And all we're doing is just pushing this water out so we get a good bond. Now here's where, if you have a hair dryer, it works really, really well, because now that you have pushed the water out, and by pushing it out, starting at the center, you have gotten all your air bubbles out with it. See, if you saw just then, I kind of pushed it up a little bit by accident. No problem. It hasn't dried yet. Just going to push it back out. That's it. And let me wipe off the bottom of this because it's water and stuff on the bottom. But you can see that's UV protected now. We still got our edges and everything, but we need to let this dry. So I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna just set it outside. But if you have a hair dryer, you can just like window tint, hit it with the hair dryer, let it dry, not a big deal. I'm just going to set this aside. I'm going to come right back when this is dried on here. All right, everybody, we're back. All I did was I just took the glass, set it outside on my grill for about 5 minutes, just let the sun bake on it. That's it. Like I said, if you use the hair dryer, then you're perfectly good with the hair dryer. So now we need to trim all this excess off. So I'm just going to use the scissors again and carefully trim off this excess. The big thing is you don't want to lift it. If you lift it, it'll peel away. Then you really need to go through the whole process again. So I'm going to set this here. Get our razor blade out, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this because of the background color and everything, but I'm going to start on an angle and just kind of angle in, run this right along the edge, and just cut this right off. Let me see if I can do this like this so you can actually see it a little bit, but this is why you need a nice sharp razor blade. I've got it cut into the film a little bit, and I'm going to work it down. I don't want to cut myself, so I'm trying to be pretty careful as I do this and still get it all in frame so that you can see. I'm gonna have to lay it down. Sorry, but I've got to lay it down. There's no other way I can really do this. All right. All right, we got a little chunk off it. Now I'm just laying this right against the edge, and I'm coming right down with the razor blade and trimming it right off. I'm going to go ahead and do this my normal way. Like I said, I'm sorry, but it's just so I don't cut myself with this blade. Let me go ahead and get this going. All right, there we go. Take all of that off there. Just gonna lay my glass back on here. And now we're gonna clean the glass again. Use a little bit of window cleaner, quick spray. Just as before, start in the center, work your way up. There you go. What you want to do is really not touch this a whole lot because we just don't want fingerprints on it. Flip it over. Quick little spray again. And we're just cleaning this glass off. All right, we got our glass cleaned off. Now, let's get ready to put this whole thing together. This is just the paper stock that comes in, you know, with your frames and everything. So we got the black background, got the white, doesn't really matter. So just gonna put that in there. Let's get my Judy Johnson Perez steel. Gonna set that in there all nice and clean. And then our glass, the UV protection is on this side of the glass. And let me check to make sure it's no remnants of glass cleaner or anything on there, because I don't want it on there. All right. And I've got a fingerprint right in the glass right there. Let me get this fingerprint off of here. All right, there we go. Now, like I said, remember which side your UV is on, which mine is right here on the top. I'm gonna put my glass in, and if you're using the traditional frames and stuff, put your glass in first and put it in, you know, kind of reverse order of what I'm doing. But putting this in here, and there you go, guys. There's my finished product. Framed and matted Judy Johnson autograph Perez steel. It is now UV protected, so I can put this in direct sunlight. Less than 0.5/10,000% of UV light can get through to damage my autograph. So I am beyond happy. I'm going to go ahead and put some put a command strip on here and go ahead and hang it up in my office. But you know, you can do this with pictures anywhere in your rooms, any rooms at all. But that's it. It's that simple, that easy. It's just like putting window tint on. So there you go. I hope I helped out a whole lot of people that may have bought pictures, autographed pictures, or anything like that at the National. Or if you have a display case and it did not say that it came with UV protection, just order the film, you know, do your rough cuts and everything. And if you can pop out the glass, that will be a lot easier. Or you can just order the UV protected glass from a distributor or anything. Or you can do it like I do, just make it myself. So there you go. Very quick, very simple, very easy. Once you get used to doing this, you'll fly through it. You'll be able to do one of these in about 2 minutes or so. It'll take longer for this to dry on the glass than it will for you to actually do all the steps. I slow down a whole lot for the purpose of recording this and showing exactly what I do. But you guys take it easy, stay blessed. I'll talk to you next time. Peace.